Now inside the maginot line.
Now just before we go into the engine room, you'll notice these couple of doors, metal doors. They're called baffle doors. And the idea of those, plus these little areas, stop any blast air coming down and affecting that. In other words, it's to stop if bomb goes off up there, obviously we don't want the blast to come down here. You've got alcoves here that housed tanks for diesel, and of course the diesel came down from the surface just as you would normally expect. Right, we're into the engine room. This is a sort of reproduction of what was here. The two generators, as well as the electrical switchboard, were sold for scrap at the end of the war. But fortunately, or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, these two generators are almost identical to what was here, and they came from an Australian submarine that was being retired. And the electrical board was an old one at Bunnerong Power Station. It was a power station in southern Sydney. Was thrown away, and our restoration people have replaced the switches and dials to sort of replicate what was here. Now this room was excavated from the surface. So you can see that there's heavy duty support there. Because above it there is 1.5 metres of concrete, 2 metres of joint soil and sand, another 1.5 metres of concrete, another 2 metres of soil and sand. The idea being that if the bomb went off, it was not going to.
I see that the Metropolitan Vickers, the switchboard, which Australia, but that would have been the Metropolitan Vickers of England, no doubt.
Probably, yeah.
Which was General Electric.
Yeah. Well, most of the equipment, the guns, were English.
Yeah.
Made in the barrels anyway.
Probably at Woolwich.
No, they were up in Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Yeah. Up in that area. Oh, as you can see, there's the remnants of hoists. They had a few little fuel tanks in here. And one interesting aspect is that the burnt diesel, which produces black smoke, went out through a filter which took all the black out, and the smoke that went out into the air was white. So enemy planes couldn't see it. So they sort of thought about it. But I don't know whether you noticed in the video, none of the workers in here had earmuffs. Must have been pretty noisy. But that's what they did in those days.
So you say this was excavated from the top, and then it was laying them down
Yes.
and sealed it up?
This was the interesting questions we get, that on construction they brought these down. In 1960, when the war was over and everything, they sold all this for scrap. So the question is, how did they get it out? And secondly, how did they get these in? The only way would be to dismantle them through there.
How many megawatts or kilowatt generators were these?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
I don't often get these technical engineering questions. All I know is that
Yes?
One of these could produce enough electricity for the gun use and the camp.
So the other one was more of a backup.
As a backup or maintenance or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be 300 kVA or something.
Oh, 300 kilowatts.
A kilowatt there, I
Yeah.
think.
No, kVA is the, how can I describe it?
Yeah, for a generator.
If you've got capacitance or inductance, you don't say kilowatt.
20.
Okay, I can't say that.
And yeah, can't read amps. Speed at 960.
Revolutions per minute. So it says 3 kilowatts.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Now, as I've explained, this room was excavated from the top. The tunnels that we're about to walk into were dug out. As they dug through, they found all this water seeping in. It's fresh water. They couldn't stop it, they didn't know where it came from. So as we go through the tunnel, you'll notice the cement rendering of the walls has allowed some seep holes, weep holes to let the water out. And in constructing the pathway, they put trench on either side to collect the water.
Yeah.
And in addition, the pathway is curved upwards,
Cambered.
which means that if you get a high tide, it will eventually go back in. And I've never got my feet wet yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
Bit like a road,
yeah.
a cambered road.
Now, the interesting thing about the water, we still don't know where it comes from.
That would be isn't always usually, right?
We can have a whole week of rain, heavy rain. I can come in here on a Sunday and the flow is minimal. Never stops, but it's minimal. We can then have a fortnight of hot weather, not a skerrick of rain. I come in here on the Sunday and we got high tide. So it takes, wherever it comes from, it takes a while to seep through. All right.
Okay.
Now, as we walk through, you'll notice a couple of points where about my head height, you'll see a big hole in the wall. That's the airflow system. And each one is either stale air out or fresh air in. All right? Now you can see the wet road and the water coming out. You ever had it tested? Should be pretty good coming through the fence, though. Yeah. When the through is so started, the 5 filters up. And often the way down. So if you don't do that, right?
We landed the first part of the tour.
You can't want to be
We landed the first part of the tour.
15 years ago.
20 years.
This is an air vent
Yeah.
where the air would come in.
People would have been here that it was fine.
And this is exactly like the Maginot Line.
A lot of water going on.
Yeah.
And so where's that water going now? Where's that drain going?
You don't give me a chance to do my... That
Sorry.
goes into that sump and flows out through a pipe over the cliff into the ocean.
Okay.
Well, here. This is the lowest point in the tunnel, 9 metres. And by now, you will have realised that the tunnel system is like a wire. We've come in through the entrance and we're now at this joint. So you've got two tunnels, two doors, each one going to one of those two major guns. Now we're going to that gun. The other gun has not been brought up to today's safety standards. But whatever you see there is replicated there. So you're not missing out on something. Now, as you can see on the drawing behind you, this was also the first aid station. So there's the entrance that we've come through. There's that tunnel. And obviously this was the first aid area. You've got two alcoves there where if the patient was wanting more than first aid, they put on a stretcher prior to being evacuated to the surface. And as you've already seen, there's the washstand still there. The water doesn't work, but...
To evacuate somebody, would the stretcher bearers have to go up the stairs?
Yes.
There was no lift.
No lift. No lift. All right?
Yep.
And as you can see, the water from this tunnel flows down to here. The water from that tunnel flows to here. So, by scientific method, it confirms this is the lowest point.
From the right and from the left.
This is where I give you the good news and the bad news. The good news is that we've come 120 metres downhill. The bad news is we've got 80 uphill.
This is the original concrete.
Yeah.
Formed very well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Considering the boots that must have, the hundreds of boots that must have scuffed across it.
Yeah.
And what about munitions? Would they have pushed them down this thing?
No,
What-
you'll see that when we get up here.
So this is uniquely for personnel.
Personnel only.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
And this is an air vent, sorry.
Yes. Now, when we get back on the surface, I will show you the vent that this services. But it is actually air going out and water coming in. Now, as we go down here about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way, you'll see a big opening on the right, and that is where the pump chamber was to push the fuel, the diesel and power into the gun.
And with the air, was there an air pump anywhere? Or was it
No.
all free running?
Free running.
All right.
Right.
Stretchers. Where people were treated.
They said it's applied to drinking water for the barracks.
Oh, that's it, okay. Danny?
Somebody want me? All right.
Nope.
Is this the original electrics as well?
No.
Okay.
I think that's lost paper.
some of these are,
Oh, yeah.
but not the other.
Cables.
This is one of the originals.
Yeah, that one.
That's an original.
But they've changed
But
the
the
cables.
wiring was all.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been PV. But I tell you, who would have had PVC in those days? The Germans.
Yeah. There's the pump chamber.
Pump chamber. But for diesel, not for air. The air system was, there was no mechanical pump.
It's good that they've done a replica bullet or bullets.
Sure.
Yeah. That's good.
Right, you'll notice as we walk in, it's still, we've got the two doors again. During operations, they would be closed. Again, stopping the air pressure. Now, we are actually underneath where the gun is, or was. And you asked about storage and so forth. They would have been delivered by surface, and I'll show you where they came in. All right?
Yep.
This is also excavated from the top and has the same sort of protection above. Now this is just the storage area, and as required, shells and the explosive would be put on this hoist and taken up to the gun.
Was it electric? The hoist, was
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yes. And in a few minutes, I'll show you the top end of that. See, hoist tower yard.
Yeah.
Now these are actually, if we have any children in the tower, I ask them, would they think that they would be able to hold one of these shells, 172 kilograms, twice my weight. And they are hesitant, and I try and talk them into it, and I'm usually very successful. But I remind their mother, who's looking on rather anxiously, that don't forget what I said at the start of the tour. I have a duty of care for you. And so I get them to hold out a can like that. And then I'll just pick it up and give it to them.
Because it's plastic.
It's plastic. So that involves the kids in the tour.
But
Now, the other room in here holds the explosive, the cordite, in those black cylinders. Now, it also was excavated from the top. It's all of these have got a metre of concrete on the walls and the floor. In there was a special rubberised surface on the floor. The people that went in there had to have a special uniform, no metal buttons. They were searched for lighters and matches, and no nails in their boots, because one spark in there and they were all in trouble. And interestingly, I've just put that light on. I don't know if you pull that, does it work? Yes. And there is no lighting in there other than these two. And by the use of this mirror, when it's closed, that gives them light. So So that's how it all worked.
This
And as
is-
you can see, there's a photo there of the people working here, putting shell onto the hoist, and there was the ability to escape hatch.
Is this their gas masks that they're putting on their chests?
Yeah.
So, how would you get a shell from here over to there? I can see this one go there, but how does it go across? Because I don't see anything. Or has it been removed?
Yeah, well, this one comes with
I had a little trolley as well, just saw on the movie, and we'll take it out. The trolley will come up here.
Oh, okay.
We took two at a time.
All right.
And that escape hatch, who was that for?
Well, if you have to get out of here for safety reasons, you can use the escape hatch.
There's a
There
little.
was a ladder there.
Okay, yeah, there was a ladder.
And where does these, do we know where the escape hatch takes them?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay, good.
Out on the surface, of course.
Yes, of course, yeah. It's like that.
All right, we'll move on.
Service shaft.
Now, you asked about the delivery of those shells.
Yep,
They would be delivered by normal surface transport,
yep.
and there was a service shaft here, hoist, that
Okay.
would bring them down here, and then they would have to trolley them through there.
But that wasn't hollow there.
No, it's this side.
It was this side.
So there's the
Yeah,
line.
yeah, there's the rails.
So it's up here.
Yeah. Okay.
Could you swing this ball,
That way.
please?
What is He did everything with territorial tax. Gosh.
Just be careful stepping down, please.
Yep.
Just watch where you're stepping. And as required, they would send up the supplies that could be stored in some of these cupboards. And there is the curved white wall where the shells were stacked. And you will have the telephone system between here and down below.
That's the telephone system, is it?
Speak in there,
Right.
and they heard it down there, and vice versa.
Well, it worked okay in a ship.
I-
It worked okay in a ship.
Yeah. Now, one shot in the video I asked you to remember was the white curved wall
Yeah.
and two soldiers manhandling a shell onto a trolley. This is where it was, and the idea of the trolley, and you can see the rails. The gun could go 360 degrees. Not only fire out to sea, but it could fire inland
Yeah.
and take out any things that an enemy might take advantage of.
Yeah.
So, and it had to be loaded from the back. So wherever it was pointed, these guys with the shell had to trolley it round to the back of the gun. And that's why that's there. This is the base of where the gun was. And as you can see, these bolts, there's 32 of them, they tell me. I think there's more than 32 there. But you can see how steady,
Well, they've done a great job
and
all these
wanted,
years later.
it wanted. Now, if the gun was still here, you would not be seeing the blue sky or sun because we're standing on the lower gun floor, and there was another floor at this height.
Yep.
And the gun house where the crew were is up there. So you had a sort of a base piece, you had the piece that allowed it to
Rotate.
yeah. Then you had the cradle, and then you had the gun. So, of course, the gun had to be above the level of that wall.
And sorry, was the gun
65 bolts.
64.
was the gun loaded at this level though?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
The gun, what happened was the shell was put on the trolley to the back of the gun that had a little hoist on,
Yep.
and the people here would put it on the hoist to the gun, and the gun electrically would get it up to,
And the turning of the gun, was it electric or was it hydraulic for the revolving?
I would say it was hydraulic.
Yeah, that's what I would
The other
think.
thing downstairs that was hydraulic,
Yes.
Yeah, because it normally was hydraulics.
I guess,
And I guess a motor to turn this thing would be impossible.
not through a gearbox,
No,
reduction.
there'd be a lot of reduction. He's fucked.
All right.
That's what you need. Sorry, Brian, I just missed where the escape hatch came out. Was it this door here, was it?
Hang on a minute. Here's a photo out of the video. You can see the back wall, the top, so that there's the upper gun floor where the gun house is there's the barrel, so that the crew are up above us, and then underneath is where we are.
Sorry again. When you put the shell in and then you put the cordite behind it?
Yes.
Okay, because you didn't see that in the video, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this area here is the crew room. It's undergoing some repairs and renovation at the moment, but the 8 to 10 people crew, 8 hours, that was their crew room. Where if they were doing nothing, they probably sat there and listened to the radio or
Played cards.
played cards,
Gamble.
and had their meals there, etc., etc. And you all want to know where the escape hatch is. It's there.
Right, okay.
But it's not working now because the lock's on the outside.
At least it got them out anyway.
So in that escape hatch were the little steps for you to get up it? or-
Ladders into the concrete wall.
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be
I fancy that.
You probably wouldn't think about it if you had to get out.
Probably would get stuck halfway up.
Someone would push you out, move your ass.
And I believe the ladders are only so long.
Yeah.
And you go down, come up one, and you come across to another one.
Oh yeah,
It's not one
all the way up.
all the way up. It's a series.
And with those air vents, you see one with the tail, but this one is just, it has no tail on it. Any particular reason? The one on the left.
No, it doesn't tell.
Oh, it does? Or am I?
Just can't see.
Oh, that proves the two types you have.
That's
That
the
proves
two
types, yeah. One that would be taking air
that's
in,
fresh air in,
and that's
and that's stale
the-
air out.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
So this colour scheme was done after this walk.
Now, if you walk up here, at the top of this rise, there is a road, a cobblestone road, or track, or track.
It's better way.
It's called the Avenue of Honour, and was constructed in 1929 to give work to local people during the Depression. And they called it the Avenue of Honour in memory of those living in the Manly area who served during World War One.
Yeah.
There were 246 of them, so they planted 246 pine trees down either side. When World War II started, they realised, or somebody realised, that that was a great navigational aid for enemy aircraft to the gun emplacement. So the trees
down the
went.
gun.
The trees went. If you walk down that, about 50 metres on your left is the start of a metal boardwalk that takes you up the top of the hill to a observation post. That is one of two that are here on North Head. If you were to go further, on your right about 100 metres, there's more metal boardwalk, takes you over a swamp.